Okay, time is about 9:43. I think we are more or less ready to start. So I'm looking at let me put the time first. Okay, so I'm looking at the poll. I think it's quite all right. Okay, just reminder. I think because we have the answer key, right? So it's more or less us commenting on the answers itself, lah. Not so much of writing the answer from scratch, lah. Okay. So we'll go down the order largely. We'll jump around here and there to join out some questions. Like for example, ASRQ question 6, which is the network question, right? I think up to 6C is all quite high results lah. You know. Okay, so we start with ASR question for what's ASR question for? Let's see. Okay, this is the one. Okay, so this is a BSD question lah, right? Can we just magnify it a little bit more? Mhm. Okay, so this is you're given the following list of words represents generative AI platform. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way until the last one only. Okay, so they are inserted into empty binary search tree in the given order. Uh, Nodes are arranged based on lexicographical order. I guess this word is not common, but it has the same meaning as alphabetic if you see it. Okay, so draw the complete BSD after insertion. So just basically insert based on the letter order. I think this one no issue. Okay, so I just show you the answer again. Okay, so this is what you have. Okay, I don't think there's any difficulty with that. Okay, then after that you're asked to extract the pre-order and post order. So this one is just root left right root. All right, then that's okay. Then after that, they ask you what does in order traversal have for the BST. So in the case of this BST, right, because it inserted in alphabetical, right, then the extraction should also be alphabetical as well. Okay. Next one, it says replace perplexity with grok. All right. So instead
Mr.
of
Kwon, can I
inserting,
interrupt? Sorry.
yeah, okay.
Okay. I have a similar question for a J1 promo this year. Okay. Now, one of the common error where I see my JC1 student answering is that for example in order traversal, I ask them what kind of property. Then the students say that the first letter of every word is being compared. That means I probably some of them have this idea that it is only the first letter. Now actually it is not true. When you compare a word and another word, it not only compare the first letter, it compares the second, third, fourth letter. So in cases where you have two words, like for example, uh, um,
Let me try. Yeah.
build and building, So build similar, right? But then they with an ing. So build and building. So the two words actually still compare, and build will come first, building will come second. The reason because building is is larger or bigger in the alphabetical order. It will be arranged in that order. So
Mm.
one of the what I want to highlight is that it is not just comparing the first letter of the word. Even though the list of you take a look at the list of this in this question, they are all different words. Okay, and then if you just compare the first letter, you can kind of arrange, except for like for example ChatGPT and Copilot, you can see that besides comparing the first letter, it compares the second letter also. Okay, so that is one common error that I want to highlight. The other one is that I did a check about this issue called alphabetical order. Now, alphabetical order in layman term, we always assume that it is A to Z, from small to big. From A being the smallest and Z being the biggest. But actually, it is not true because alphabetical order, there is also a reverse alphabetical order. So I actually kind of advise the J1 student, when you want to say alphabetical order from what to what, then that will be clearer. From A to Z, something like that.
Mm.
Okay, rather than thinking that alphabetical order, it should be in the ascending order. Because when you say alphabetical order, it need not be ascending or descending order. It's just an order, that's all. So I think to be clearer, sometimes you may want to say that it's alphabetical order from A to Z. Just an advice. This is just an advice. Nobody say that it must be like that. Okay. Just happened that my J1 promo question, I set a question that is similar to this particular question. Yeah.
Okay, so next one, they say replace perplexity with grok, right? So explain your reasoning without reconstructing the BSC. Yeah. Okay, so there's nothing to stop you from, if you just want to do rough work at the side, right? You basically you do the whole BSC from scratch. That means you insert grok, then insert clock, Gemini and all, right? And check, right? But then your answer should not but you can get the answer out, but you should not be referring to your new BST to answer. You can't say, oh, because I have drawn the new BST, right, and it seems that there are these changes, so therefore the answer is like that. You cannot. Okay, so for this, right, you have to look at the answer itself. Look at the original BST you have drawn. If you look at perplexity here, right, it is basically the root of a tree. Okay, so it is the first it will whatever word is here, it will determine where the rest of the words go to, either left or right. The first layer of so-called the assignment, right, to left or right happens here. So if you look at perplexity, and then you see that every word to the left of it is smaller than perplexity if you go by alphabetical. Okay, and then every word to the right of it is bigger. Okay, so if you sub in grok over here, that means you just put in grok, right? Can I type something here? Let's try. I think yeah, I can type here. So let's say I just type it here, grok. Okay, then we check again right now. Okay, you can see that if you take grok here, right, every word on the left hand side is still smaller than grok. Okay, every word on the right hand side is still bigger than grok. So in this case, right, your structure will not change. Okay, so you replace perplexity grok, maintains the same order. Okay, so and the key ideas here is that basically all words on the left is smaller, is still smaller. All words on the right is still bigger. So there's no change in your tree. Okay, so you need to explain a bit without drawing. Of course, you draw is rough work. That's fine. Okay, can I think that was some. Then after that, you have. I think the question is that you all highlighted. A lot of them have pseudocode, so I think there's some unfamiliarity with it. All right, so write pseudocode recursive search function to perform binary tree search for the value target. It should return a boolean indicating whether target value is present in the tree. I think someone asked a question few days ago. Do you need to be able to write pseudocode for whichever search and sort? If you can write it in Python code, right, and it's taught, right, you have to be able to write it in pseudocode as well. So like we say many times before, I think you'll see some examples here as well. Pseudocode basically, as long as we read, we understand, that's fine. You want to use like basically essentially Python code, that is fine lah if you don't remember the syntax. Okay, but you need to know how to read the syntax of the standard pseudocode that you will see in your A level papers lah.
Can I
Okay.
chip in a little bit
Yeah.
about pseudocode and this kind of thing? Uh, uh, some question ask student to describe the algorithm. And if you, instead of describing the algorithm, you use pseudocode, you're wrong. You get penalized. You won't get marks for it. Why? Okay, when you write pseudocode, you're allowed to use symbol like equal, use symbol like bigger than, smaller than, okay? Or use statement like return 0. Now, when you describe something, you don't say return something. You say output, right? You know what I mean? Or and then you don't use the sign bigger than or smaller than within your description, you see. You use English word larger than, smaller than. So things like this, you see. Please don't use those symbols that you use in a pseudocode within a description or explanation. You're going to get heavily penalized. Cannot distinguish between explaining, describing, and writing pseudocode. They are not the same.
Yeah, so I think looking at this pseudocode, does anyone have any issue understanding what's going on here? Okay, otherwise I think it's quite a standard one. Okay, this part E, so I will not explain too much about it lah. So basically, if root now it means empty tree, then if you find if you find your target at root, then just return true. Otherwise, compare to your root data, this is bigger or smaller, then go left and right, left or right accordingly, then run the recursive search there. Okay. Okay, then after that, count nodes. Okay, count nodes is a bit different. Okay, so but I think we have done something similar before lah. Okay, so just quick go through this one again. So basically, again, if your tree is empty, someone type in chat. Okay, wait. When you write pseudo, okay, sorry, someone made a comment. When you write pseudocode, you mark down for each part that doesn't follow standard pseudocode as well. Okay, I think this one, there's no, okay, to say that there's no real standard for pseudocode is untrue lah. There is a standard lah, but I think pseudocode has a bit of leeway, like we said, as long as it is understandable, you can understand it. You choose, let's say for example, later you look at I was just looking at the Diamond High one. Diamond High, they also have their own it's kind of different format for their pseudocode. But again, it's understandable. And then the thing is that once you choose certain words, right, you don't change it. You don't go and, like, for example, you choose to instead of you writing and if, right, you choose to write and the if. That's okay as long as you standardize everything throughout lah.
Okay,
Okay.
maybe I
Cambridge has
elaborate a
standard
little
one,
bit on
yeah.
that. Cambridge don't have a choice. When Cambridge set his paper, they must use standard pseudocode. Otherwise, everybody, I mean, just to make sure that everybody can read the pseudocode. But when student reply or when student answer, students are not required to write standard pseudocode. So long as you write something, even if it's Python code and they can understand, you get your marks. So the answer in short is that you can write something that is non-standard, so long as it makes sense logically, and explain your algorithm.
Okay, so back to the count nodes one. So count nodes again, if root is now just return 0. So this is counting the number of nodes in your tree. Okay, then after that, the left count equals to count nodes root left, and count nodes, right count equals to count nodes root right. So this is the recursive call. The return here, right, return 1 plus left count plus right count. If you just imagine that you have a tree with root node, and then you also have one left node and one right node, right? Basically, when you come into the root, right, there is some data there. This is why you have a 1 there. Okay, then after that you will do this takes from your recursive call, and this also takes from the other recursive call. Okay, I think we have done not completely foreign lah. I think you have seen something similar before. Okay. Okay, next one is your compare when you have any words that need to be solved, why using BST is advantageous compared to a sorted linked list. So this one here, right? You can, because I'm looking at some keywords. Explain the advantage. So it's just looking for one. Okay, so one advantage, right? You want to justify 2 marks here, right? You can go from the direction of, okay, you state the advantage of BSD, and then you compare it to you need to talk about the resulting disadvantage of the linked list. Okay, so basically when you want to say, oh, why is A better than B, right? You state the advantage that A provides, and then as a result, right, what kind of this disadvantage that B has. Okay, so don't just state the advantage of your BSD without mentioning the linked list at all. All right. Okay, so this one I think we should be okay for. This is about the search. Okay, so for BSD to search, right, you can do your O log n. Okay, so that's every time you compare, basically, if you're lucky, you can get half it lah. Then if you do a linked list, you have to traverse through the whole list as usual. Okay.
Just want to pause here a while. Now, sorted linked list. Now, even though the linked list is sorted, that means if you search for something, and then when you hit something that is bigger than what you want. Okay, bigger than what you the item that you search for, then you really you stop there already.
Yeah.
Correct not? So so then the thing is that it depends on whether you're lucky or you're not lucky. Sometimes you are required to search all the way to the end of the sorted link list, then you find that the item is not there. But then sometimes if you're lucky, the first item that you check, you already confirm that it's not there. So this thing where it involves this idea of luck, whether you find in the middle or you find at the end, that's why it's an ON. Okay, so this is something that to explain the this time complexity. Why is it an ON? You know, you either go the full length or you go, you know, the kind of thing. It depends on the end. You still depend on the end. Okay, just to chip in a bit on this time complexity thing.
Okay, yeah. Just a good point for time complexity as well, right? I think we also have seen before. You can talk about the best case scenario, average scenario, worst case scenario, right? If you're asked to give one, right, then just give the worst case. Okay, but be fair lah. Go and compare. Don't compare. You don't pick the best case for the one that you like, and then pick the worst case for the one you like, and then compare. Then that's not very fair, because if you have a BSC that is not balanced, technically BSC can be ON as well, right? Because you can have a tree that just basically stretch all the way to the left. Then that is still ON complexity as well, lah. So do a fair comparison. Okay, if in this case this is talking about average. Okay, average. Okay, so this is a balance tree, lah. Okay, and then it's comparing. So for sorted linked list, don't care is okay. Heng best case is you hit at the first one. Okay, but then that is provided you are searching for the first one, you know. So it's hard to predict. So it's still ON over here. Okay, I think that's all for question 4. Question 4. I think we jump to ASR. Same paper. ASR. I think that was a network question. Network question. I think we will take a quick look at it. Okay, so I think there are some terms that we have seen before lah. I think the land and when, I think Mr. Tan during the last lesson also explained, so we will skip some of it. Okay, then this one there are some. I think this question is maybe difficult for you all, because I think we don't have so much variety of network questions. And then okay, so basically you have this furniture outlets, 3 outlets, and they use client server architecture. Explain what is meant by client server model in this context. So if you think about your usual website, so for example, as I'm using let's say like Google, right? Every one of us uses a web browser on the phone or something to go and connect to Google.com. So Google maintains that server, and then all of us on our phones, all these things are considered as clients. Okay, clients will connect to the server lah. Okay, so this is a 2-mark question. Okay, question 6, right? Question 6. Okay, over here. Good. They put their question here, so very good. Okay, so I highlighted the points. Okay, so over here, question 1, right? Client server model network architecture. Okay, so server stores and maintains the database. Whatever information you need is from the server. Client is just requesting, and then also is doing the request for data, is doing the request to update the data. Client, the server is the one doing all the processing. Okay, the most common example you've seen in your practical part is your web app, and your soccer programming. Your website is the client. You access everything you do on the client side. You submit whatever changes you want to make, whatever requests you make, send to the server process and send back to you. Can?
One thing I want to chip in here is this. If your idea of client server is always a file storage, that means I upload a file and then I retrieve a file, you know, the kind of thing, then your understanding of client server is very limited. Now, when we talk about server, there are many types of server. It could be a web server, it's a web server, file server. It could be a database server. So basically, this server will kind of respond based on the client's request. So for example, you type on your web browser a particular URL, you send it to the server. The server will take your request and then return you the web page that you want. Or you click on a particular file link in the file server, the file server will return you that document. So the job of the server is to respond to your requests. So in client server, this idea, this word request, the client's request, try to use that because it's like a keyword. It's like a keyword in the client server architecture kind of setup. So you may learn that, and don't just stick to just taking as a file server. There could be many other server. Okay. Yeah. So that's right. So for example, like even nowadays, Office 365 is being housed in a server. Your client don't have the software installed, so you click on the server will launch the PowerPoint or launch the Excel for you. Okay. So it's actually on the server based kind of applications. Yeah.
Okay, so for the next one is explain how. Sorry.
The
Wait,
benefits
sorry. The benefits, right?
benefit
Benefits.
of the intranet.
Wow, this one a bit hard to read as well. Three types of software. Three types of software used to implement this client server system. Okay, first one. I thought for a while what was this. Then I realized actually it's back to basics. Back to
Mm.
basics. Okay, over here. Okay, this are your three software. Okay, I don't know if you still remember your J1 stuff. Let me see if I can paste this in or not. I cannot paste this in. Okay, you remember we asked you to use this network simulator software called Filius? Anyone still remember Filius? Okay, it's good to go back to take a look at Filius for a while. Remember in Filius, right, you can set up a web server, you can set up an email server, etc. But it requires you to install the email server software in the app. Okay, so this is what you need to have lah. Okay, so basically you can run through that one to just practice a bit to see what kind of how can you get the network running again lah. The purpose of the router, the purpose of the switch and all, you can use that to practice as well. Okay. Just a reminder, the answer here they're expecting web browser software, which I know you know that this is Chrome, Edge, Safari, but please don't say those terms. Just give the generic one. Okay. Anyway, I don't think you know any web server software, right? Okay, DBMS, just state it as it is. All right.
Our Flask is a web server software.
If you remember that, are you right? Yeah, but
So
just
that
write generic lah.
if you're trying to
Ah,
if you're trying to understand what do you mean by this web server software? Web software is the one that actually do the web serving. So provide the web service. So like Window the server operating system also have this web service. So they have to sort of install that service. Then that particular server with the OS can actually do the become a web server. So there is a web server software lah. For our case, our experience is the use of a Flask.
okay. Okay. Something else about our network. When you're asked about when you need to state certain network components or need to connect up a network, right? Always assume the most basic network devices. Okay. I know we are used to at home. We have the
Hybrids, all the
fiber
hybrids.
optic switch box, then the wireless router, right? Then you just have two boxes at home. Okay, but remember, your wireless router at home, right, is three things in one. You have the router component, you have the switch component, you have the wireless switch as well. Okay, so basically there are many things inside that one router. But when we are asked to explain for the sake of this theory exam, we need to break out this part. We cannot just say that, oh, we draw a router and that's it. Okay, the router does not serve the same purpose as a switch. Okay, just be careful about that. Okay, don't take your home. In this case, don't take your home knowledge for this part here, lah. Okay. I think later on we have chance to talk about it as well. Okay, so then next one you're asked to explain one advantage or write one advantage of adopting a client server system. Okay, so the answer they gave is basically your data is all centralized, so everyone access the same up to date inventory information. Okay, that's one reason. Another reason could be, let's say if you are doing, if every time you make a transaction, there is a lot of computation involved, right? If you don't use a server client model, that means every machine you have must be capable of doing that kind of calculation, which will actually, that means you need to have a very powerful computer at every station. That's one as well. Okay. But right now, when you have a server client, you can basically concentrate. You can have a very good computer at the server side. Client side, it can be your handphone, it can be a very simple laptop, even can be a Chromebook as well. No, you can just connect to the server for the server to make all the necessary calculations and all. Yeah. So that's another way of looking at it as well. Okay. Okay, then next one. Then we talk about LAN and WAN. So remember, LAN is local. Okay, WAN is wide. So your WAN connects your LAN networks. Okay, must LAN be wired? Wired? Not necessarily, because we do have the possibility of wireless LAN. But at the basic level, all the devices on your LAN, you can just, they are close enough for you to wire them up, okay, using your LAN, your Ethernet cables and all. Okay, so every outlet and the HQ uses a LAN to connect devices within the network. And then the WAN connects all four of them together. Okay, then you use routers. So
Okay,
uh,
let me talk about this wireless thing. Now, today most of the user always think wireless. But you have to understand the limitation and the risk of using wireless. So in a typical LAN setup, okay, okay, if you use wireless, for example, the building structure, that means you have the wall, you have the rooms and all that kind of thing, that will block out the signal. So that's one problem. And then the other thing is that if you use wireless, then you're more prone to people, eavesdropping. That means they can tap the signal, when you're communicating wirelessly. So it's less secure. Whereas if you have dedicated wire that connects the networks up, then this aspect of the security is not an issue. Okay. In the past, when you have wired LAN, distance is a constraint, because, like, for example, if you look in our computer lab, on the floor, those white cable, those white LAN cable, the maximum distance you can go to is 100 meters. But then nowadays we have fiber optics. So fiber optics not an issue already. You can go by kilometers. So there's no issue of networking up the whole building using wire. Okay, so don't think that LAN, can be wireless. Wireless means convenient. It is not entirely true. Most of the LAN that is in use, are actually, most part of it is actually wired.
of course, wire is the more secure way, lah, as in the not secure as in safe from hacking. It's the most reliable way still.
Secure, and then also the
Mm,
in terms of the bandwidth is dedicated.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the connectivity is better lah. Yeah,
Mm.
guaranteed connectivity.
Okay, yeah. Okay, now routers. Okay, so routers sit at the gateway to the LAN. Okay, it's basically okay. Remember, we within the LAN itself, if you remember your feeders, right? All of them have you set them up to have basically you have your internal IP addresses, right? 192.168.0.1.2.3.4.5, right? So basically every LAN network, the devices inside there have an internal IP address. Okay, but when you send things out across LANs, right, from one LAN to another LAN through the WAN network, right, let's say for example, computer 1A from LAN 1 wants to send something to computer 2A LAN 2, right? You have to send through your WAN. Okay, the job of the router, remember there's this thing called the network access table. I think that's the name, NAT, right? So basically, it is the directory. Okay, it's a lookup table. When the router receives traffic from the WAN, right? You will say, okay, this one is meant for which one, and it's a router's job to direct it to the correct client within the LAN itself. Okay, the switch is where everything, all the clients in the LAN is connected to the switch, and then the router sits in front of the switch. Okay, so I hope you remember
Yeah.
how a switch works, huh? Switch, and then there's another basic one which we never thought about. It's called a hub. Okay, switch and router. The way it works is when traffic comes to the router, router say, oh, this one is actually meant for, it's coming in from outside. Is meant for client 1A. Okay, then router will send to the switch. Switch will only send to 1A and not to the rest of the clients. Okay, so please go and revise that portion
Okay.
a bit.
Let me elaborate a little bit about the NAT, network
Access
address
table,
table,
right?
access table,
Ah,
network access table. Now, what happened is this, the router can somehow identify the client machine where it belongs. So when some when a message come in and supposed to be for a client A. Now, this router will be able to identify and say, oh, it is at another router. So you send to another router. Or it could be at the switch. So he send to the switch. So he know that which part of the network this particular client sits in. So he can send to the switch. Then it is the job of the switch to go and send it to this particular client, because the switch will remember the MAC address of this particular client and then send directly to this client. Okay, so router only remembers a client sits in which part of the network, whether it's another network or within the switch itself. The other thing is that for a WAN, that means a LAN connecting to another LAN connecting to another LAN, a few LAN connect together. They are still using the IP addressing format, but this IP address that they are using, these are private IP address. Okay, it looks almost the same as a public IP address. Okay, but it is not. It is the private. That means it's used within the local area network. That means if you try to use this IP address and access it through internet, you won't be able to get to where you want to. Okay, so all these private IP address, you cannot use internet to try to connect. So within the WAN, within the LAN itself, they are using the IP addressing, but all these are private. Now, what is public IP address? Public IP address is that it's being assigned by some world body, where it assigns certain range of IP address to different country, and then within the country itself, different company take certain IP address. So all these IP address can be accessed or can be searched globally. Okay, and then it can be so-called access. They can actually reach to this particular server or this particular host using the IP address. So that differentiate between the public IP address and the private IP address. I thought this would be a good time to talk about this when is using private IP address.
yeah. Without going so much detail, I think let's say if someone sends a letter to someone staying in your house, they will just send it to your address. Okay, but within your house, right? How do you know who is supposed to receive the letter? So usually above the address, they will put the name of the recipient lah. But if you think about it, right? If you don't put the recipient name, you can still send to the correct address, but you just don't know who is supposed in your house, who is supposed to receive it. Okay, but if you just put the name alone without address, that's another problem altogether. Say you want to send to this guy called John Tan, right? You don't put John Tan's correct address, right? There are so many John Tans who to send it to, right? So that is the issue there, lah. And then internally how it works, right? Wherever your router receives a data packet, at the packet itself, you will basically kind of tell you, okay, this packet is, yeah, I'm sending to this place, is meant for client 1A, 1B, 1C, or whatsoever. Okay, you don't have to worry about the details for that. So basically, when your data packets come into your router is able to say, oh, this one based on the information in the packet is meant for 1A. Yeah, this is meant for 1B and 1C and so on and so forth. All right. I think the Diamond High question is a bit more detailed about that lah. So later, if you got time, you can take a look at that one as well. Okay. Then explain how intranet will benefit the option. So intranet is a closed off private network. Okay. Private internal network. So private LAN. only for only if you have okay. In this case, because it's talking about company, right? Only to company stuff lah across all locations. So external parties cannot access the intranet. Okay, so how they control this? Then after that, okay, so basically this is the intranet, right? Then the next two questions, right? Part two, part three, part four is basically how you prevent, how you secure your intranet. Okay, your inventory management application is on the
Before you go to part three,
internet.
part four,
Ah,
now within a LAN itself, everybody can talk to everybody. Now,
mm,
then within that LAN itself,
we can close off.
sometimes companies set up an intranet. Why? Because maybe it is the finance, or maybe in our school we have the student data. So the KM, knowledge management, they will have an intranet that's set up, and this intranet only authorized person can access, or it could be only a particular computer can
Mm,
access the database.
mm,
You cannot access from internet, all that kind of thing. So intranet is seated within a LAN itself. It's meant to be more secure and only for a particular for authorized people to access those data. So that's the purpose of an intranet.
mm. Okay. So now we state two methods for ensuring the security of access. Okay, so this one security of access here, we are talking about how do you prevent people from prevent unauthorized users from coming into your application now. Okay, that means okay, who you in this case, right? The easiest one, of course, is your passwords lah, your user authentication. Okay, through username, passwords, and 2FA. That's one. Okay, then the other one that is also interesting, which you might not have thought of, is use roles-based access control, setting different permission levels for different staff role. Okay, so if we just look at something very simple, let's say for example, you look at your Google Drive, right? You can set it up such a folder, right, can be accessed, can be viewed by certain people only. Okay, as you also can set up such okay, maybe only okay, I set a folder, only your class can view. Okay, but then I also configure that only the teachers can make changes to the files there. Okay, or this is very common. So like if you have a website, let's say for example your admin portal, right? What you see as a student and what I see as a teacher is very, very different. Okay, so basically I just check, oh, if this guy who signed is a teacher, oh, he will have more things to that is available for him. Students don't need so much stuff. Parents don't need so much stuff.
Mm,
Okay, so this is what you do,
okay.
what you do over here, lah. Okay?
It is, that's why it's important to use keyword like this, you see, role-based access control, right? I mean, besides understanding what this means, sometimes if you use such words, role-based access control, then and then you further say, oh, different people have different permissions, kind of thing, then your answer becomes very clear, rather than you go around one whole paragraph to explain what you're trying to set up.
Hmm. Okay, next one. Secure the network infrastructure. Okay, so this one is more of okay, so you need to distinguish the two. So one is talking about access, then the other one is talking about network infrastructure. So I mean to us, right, sometimes if you say, okay, if there's only one question, let's say part three, part four is combined to suggest two methods to secure the network infrastructure. Okay, infrastructure, right? I think is in this case, right? I will restrict myself to hardware attacks. Then there's one way. But if I say okay, suggest two methods to secure the network, then you write about access control is not wrong also. You understand? Okay, so but in this case, because they separate the security of access and then the network infrastructure, right? So in that case, right, part four, I can write a bit more about the hardware as well lah. So they have like firewall. Okay, I think this one we have done before. Okay, and then so data and encryption. Okay, so I think any legit method you will work for this tool lah. Okay, so you see, if you think about it, right, this if your would-be hackers, right, they may not need to try to log into your network. Okay, they may try to tap your network traffic in the middle, or they may try to brute force to force their way into the network lah. Okay, so this one, your deploy firewall is to prevent against that. Okay, data encryption. Okay, so this is very important, especially for wireless LAN, because for wireless LAN, right, you transmit over the air, right, over space, right. Then it can be intercepted easily. So if you don't encrypt your traffic, right, then you're gonna have issue here. So you need an encryption part. Okay. Okay, then next one, data backup, data archiving, we have seen many times. Then PDPA compliance measures. Describe two specific compliance measures. So I think this one, no issue. Okay, so backup. Okay, so backup is for quick restore. Quick restore in case the data is lost or corrupted. Archiving means you take the older data, put one side. You are no longer using it on a regular basis. You just store it first. Because, like for example, what's this long-term retention and compliance purposes, especially for finance side, right? It's important that they keep at least 5 years worth of data. In case they get audited or something and need to trace back, right? Yeah, then this is why they say, oh, you want my data from 4 years ago. Give me time. I need to go to my safe to pick up the hard disk that I store the data archive in. Or I need to ask my engineer to retrieve it for you. Okay. Okay, then
Uh,
compliance for PDPA.
previously, previously I did mention before, archiving is not to it is not for the purpose of saving those data that is seldom used. Okay, seldom used or not frequently used. That's not the purpose. Down here, I think the answer is very good. It says that inactive data. That means it's 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Those data we are no longer using it. You move it to archive. Cannot. So archiving is not for the purpose of archiving those data that is not frequently used. Even if it's not frequently used, you still have to keep it in your database, and you do your regular backup. Okay.
Mm. Okay, you you keep a copy of your PSLE notes in the folder. I don't know why you keep it there. You keep it in the cupboard. Versus you right now you save a file for your upcoming A levels and then you save another copy somewhere else. So backup versus archive. All right. Okay, so consent, data protection, I think quite standard, but just make sure that when you write the PDPA one, because the question wants it to be describe two specific PDA compliance measures that IKEA must implement when handling customer data. So you need to tailor it to the IKEA condition. Okay, so just
I didn't notice the company is called IKEA until you
yeah,
read it. I didn't
their
realize
names
it.
all like that one.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize.
Yeah,
That's very interesting.
quite
I
quite
post
yeah.
one. I post one comment.
Uh,
Okay. Because
I
in
think this
live
one
we are
is a
talking
group chat.
about.
Wait. I think you post in the chat with Cock. Okay, never mind. I will copy paste it.
Okay. Okay. I placed the wrong place. Okay. There is one question that came out in last year A level question before. What's the difference between internet and World Wide Web? Okay, I mean, as compared, if I were to ask you, what's the difference between internet and intranet? Easy. Now you know what's intranet already, right? You know what's internet. But then, what happens if the question asks, what's the difference between internet and World Wide Web? Okay, so be careful, Okay, so internet is the that means the connections, a global way of connecting all different networks. Okay, all the different local area network, the WAN, wide area network, all the different network you connect together, that forms an internet.
Yeah.
But
Actually, Number High question two.
What is World Wide Web? World Wide Web is a service. Is a service. World Wide Web is a service. Now, this service allows for the transfer of web pages, document, transfer of picture and all that. So, World Wide Web is a service. Internet is a global network. So it's a different thing. Okay, cannot. So be careful with this word. Oh, Dama High have that question. I
Yeah,
missed that.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, they're correct. Yeah, describe the difference between internet and World Wide Web because A level it came out before.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, another way of thinking about it, layman terms, your internet is your roads, your expressway, your MRT tracks and all. Okay, you go to different places around Singapore to buy things, to go and do different services, right? Your shops and all, right, your businesses basically are like your pages like that. So without the internet, the World Wide Web cannot work because the World Wide Web exists on the in the they are connected using the internet. All right. Okay, this was a while we are talking about data packages. Okay, so I just need to preempt you. So remember we said that some schools they set questions to challenge their students, and then also for the case of like IP schools, right? They start computing from Sec 1. Okay, so a lot of the things are taught right from Sec 1, and then they have a lot of time to discuss all the different concepts. So for example, in this case, right, they have a 1 mark question of what is a data packet, right? So for a level, I think if you can say that a data packet consists of the header and the data, that's good enough for us lah. Okay, then they talk about trailer and all, I think don't have to. Okay.
Payload
Ah.
important. This is a keyword.
Mm.
Payload means that the actual data portion. For
So,
example, like um in your HTML, those that is inside your body segment, that one is your payload. Those things that is in your header portion where your title lah, your this what do you call that, the CSS from CSS what do you call that, is on inside your header portions.
ah,
Ah, so you can imagine that. So in a packet itself, there are these two parts, the header and the payload. Then what is inside the header? Inside the header will have to contain things like your destination IP address, your source IP address. Okay, source and destination IP address, and then also the type of file, the type of data they're sending, whether is it a media, video, is it a text, okay, your file format, and also the protocol that you use, because this packet could be a portion, a part, because all your data has
packet.
been split into different packets, right? So it also must contain the sequencing number, right? So that later on they can reassemble
Mm,
back the packets. And then also it must contain the protocol that is being used to encrypt it, so that later on people receive, they know how to decrypt it. Okay, so these are all the information that have been stored inside the header portion.
mm.
Okay.
Okay, so actually, if you look at a packet basically the structure is like a node a node in your your OP data structure, right? You have your header, payload, and trailer. So basically, the like what Mr. Tai mentioned, the data, the main data is stored in the payload. The header tells the router or tells whichever client or route network component that receives it what to do with it. Okay, trailer, it depends. I think I could just think of, for example, easy way, trailer, I can also can store information about the next packet that's coming, or maybe something say, oh, this is the last item it is the last packet for the whole data set. So once you receive this, I think that's it over already. Okay, then explain what is meant by term router. So remember the router here, right? Remember the main thing the router does, right? Store information about the addresses of computers. Okay, its main job is to route it to the correct client. Okay, how to then it was sent out to the switch first. Okay, this letter is for person living in room 1. This letter is for person living in room 2. That is a router's job to do. Okay, the switch cannot do that. Okay, then functions, I think direct data to the correct computer, direct traffic, gateway connecting to a larger network. Okay, then this one, next one, circuit switching and packet switching. By the way, I've done a high paper. Okay, circuit switching and packet switching. Packet switching, we have talked about it. Circuit switching, we have not talked so much about it. But if you look at the answers here, right, the difference between circuit and half packet, right, is quite straightforward. In the case of circuit, right, I will set a path. Let's say, for example, I want to go from my place at Punggol to Yishun. I just say, oh, go by TPE then SLE. Just take that. Everyone will take that path. And that is a path that your buses from the east side take as well, lah. So everyone goes there. There's no separate path. Okay. And in this case, okay, path cannot be used by any other data. It means once you determine this path, this road is yours, lah, in a way. Right? Packet switching is different. Packet switching, right? I break down the data into packets. Okay, then I transmit from here. So Pongo, as far as I know, there are like two main ways to go to Yishun. Now, one is I go, some of you who stay here know, can go by the back road, go by the Seletar side. No, even and then once you reach the Yishun Dam area, you can say, oh, I want to go by Yishun Avenue 9, I'm gonna go by Yishun Avenue 1, whatever you choose. Okay, so you let the packet decide which way they want to go. So it's like you just imagine if it's a road, you just go right. Okay, this one, oh, go straight is red light. Well, I can turn left. I turn left first. I'll try to figure out the best path there. So that means when I send things through packet switching, right, your different packets may arrive at different times. So they may not arrive in the same order. But the packet header information is enough to tell your receiving your receiving device, right? They say, oh, this is packet 1 of 10. This is packet 10 of 10. So I need to wait for things in the middle to arrive first. Okay, router doesn't assemble. Router is not doing it. Router just packet come, oh, meant for room 1, send to room 1. Oh, meant for room 1, send to room 1. Keep on sending. Keep on sending, keep on sending, keep on sending. Then it's up to your client, your computer at room 1. Is then the job is whichever software you're using there. I say, for example, you're using a Chrome web browser, right? It is the job of the browser to reassemble everything together. Okay, can? Okay, advantages of packet switching. Okay, so because you are using multiple paths, right, you are less likely to be affected by network failure, lah. So if TP got massive accident, it's okay. We can use the other roads. Okay, there's no waiting as well. Okay, so better security is very difficult in the set. If you think about it, because your packets are all going by different path, right? You try to listen at one path and pick up some data, right? You are not able to fully assemble it back because some of the packets might have gone through another path. All right. Okay, so this is okay, so packet data switching. Okay, then privacy of data. Okay, I think this one is also okay. Integrity of data. Okay, so privacy means I don't let people see it. I don't let people access it. Okay, integrity of data. Okay, this is about whether the data you're receiving, is it the correct one? Has any change been made or not? Or was any part missing or not? Okay, so if we look at the 2024 A-level question, we talk about the digital signature and the encryption, right? So in this case, the first one here, privacy, right? We are looking at encrypting. This is basically you don't want people to see you encrypt with your receiver's public key, then he can only decrypt using his private key. This one, integrity of data, this is similar. This is one way of doing this is to use your digital signature to check that the data you sent has not been changed. Remember, you can encrypt without doing digital signature. You can do signature without encrypting. They are independent processes. Okay, don't mix up the two.
I
Very
want
important.
to highlight this thing. Now, beyond this question, I want to suggest you, the students, to go and do a search using your ChatGPT or whatever kind of thing. Now, to fully understand, when we talk about privacy of data and we talk about integrity of data, what it actually means. Don't just take the answer here as the answer. And then after you memorize this answer, you know everything about privacy and integrity. I don't agree. I don't think so. Now, you really need to personally be convinced and really to know when people talk about privacy of data, what are they talking about? When they talk about integrity of the data, what are they talking about? These are two separate things. Now, until and unless you know this, then when they ask the question, regardless of how they anchor it, how they ask it, you will be able to answer. But now if you were to just memorize this particular answer, you probably can do well for this question. If they were to ask you slightly using a different angle or slightly different scenario, I think you'll be stuck. So be very careful. go and understand the concept of privacy and integrity and know clearly how is it different.
Okay. Then threats to computer system, you have two, 4 marks. So again, this one quite heavy lah. If this is an A level question, I'll say it's a bit unfair. For 4 marks is a bit heavy. Okay, so phishing email and spyware. Okay, I think maybe spyware I think is quite okay. Phishing email is the one that is I it's not new to you. You probably we receive phishing email on maybe like a few each day. Definitely for sure lah.
I
They
think they
will just send.
allocate 4 marks is good because why?
Yeah.
First thing is easy to earn because the thing
Uh,
is this some student just name the thread, but then they
mm,
didn't go on and describe the thread. So one is naming the thread, you get 1 mark. You describe the thread, you get another mark. So then you have they ask you to describe two, right? Down here spyware and phishing email, right? So okay, this one.
no,
Oh,
I
they
typing something else also.
so the thing is that it prevent people from making just a sweeping statement.
Mm,
You just get 1 mark, whereas you go into a little bit more description, you get the other mark. So this one is a very easy to earn question if you know your stuff, but also easy to lose if you never describe properly.
mm. Okay, so phishing email, basically email pretend to be from an official body, then say, oh, bank lah, bank is the one that will do it all the time. Okay, then, okay, I just put in this spear phishing here. So when you talk about phishing, right, phishing, if you go by like the catch the fish, FISH, you use a net, you just cast a net in, you just scoop everything up. Or even you use a fishing line, you use a fishing rod and line, right? You cannot control which fish you catch. Okay, but when you do spear fishing, you basically you throw a spear at the fish, you are catching a particular fish. Okay, so so what's the difference between normal fishing and spear fishing? Spear fishing is very targeted. If you, especially if you are someone important, you have access to a lot of information or money, right? People may want to target you specifically. So for example, I mean this is okay. If let's say for example, I send an email to every possible Gmail address, and then say, oh, we are from DBS. Actually, you think about it, right, Gmail is a whole world thing, right? And this whole thing, obviously not only a small percentage will use DBS, but then you don't care about yourself first, because you sell to everyone, it doesn't cost you anything. But then the people the email holders who actually have a DBS account, right, they might get triggered, and then they will actually do the things they want them to do lah. So that's phishing lah. Okay, but if let's say for example I want to for example someone wants to hack someone wants to get the prelim exam paper from me. They send an email to my specific email address and try to lure me to doing something, right? So that they can get the information directly from me. That's spear phishing. Okay, so this one, I think Nisha was asking me about honeypot, all those things. There's no end to this lah. Okay, so at least make sure you know the common ones. Okay, spyware, phishing email, malware, denial of service, distributed denial of service. Get to know a few of these, so at least you have a better chance of at these kind of questions. Okay, can. Okay, let's see what's next. I think this one is done. The next one, next hot one, ASR question 7. Is this the same one? ASR paper quite challenging, is it? Oh, this one. Okay, the DB question. Okay, so this is somewhat similar to what we said, but okay, we look at this table here, right? Okay, so 1NF, you don't have to worry about it. All those things are contained. Okay, but they never give you the structure. They never give you any explanation. So it's up to you to figure out. So for this, you need to look at the data. Okay, so for example, you have artwork title. Artwork title, everything is unique. Okay, the 6 titles here are unique. The medium is not unique. Okay, and prices obviously will vary lah. And then you see that, okay, artist name. Okay, artist name. So Faris has done Lionhead and Tiger Head. Su Tan has done Firestar, Thunderbird. Suya has done two as well. And then email addresses and the gallery. They are. So I was thinking this gallery, right? Is it linked to the artist or not? But you see, Faris has two works at one at La Galleria, the other one at new studio. Okay, so the artist is not tied to the studio. It's the artwork that is physically at the studio. Anyway, you say, these artworks are displayed for sale at various studios run by the company. Okay, all this under the same company lah. Okay, anyway, yeah, all the information I just said is all contained on top. So read the question. Okay, explain why the table is not in 3NF. 3NF, we are looking at transitive dependency, right? So for example, if we look at contact, artist contact is tied to you can get it from artist name. Okay, artist name you can get it from artwork title. So in this case here, right, the primary key for this table is just artwork table. You don't need anything else. From this names, the name of artwork itself, you can distinguish every line already because all these are unique, ma. But your artist contact is not directly dependent on your artwork title. It's dependent on the artist name, then jump. Same thing for studio address. Studio address is dependent on studio name, and then it's dependent on artwork title. So explain why the table is not 3NF, right? There are transitive dependencies, then it will always be good to state one lah. Okay, state example, even if they don't ask for that, right? It it shows the examiner that you know what you are talking about. All right. Okay,
Please don't
then
judge by for this question. You see only 1 mark given. Don't just say oh it contains transitive dependency. Full stop. 1 mark. You won't get a 1 mark. You need to
give more,
answer
give more.
in context. You need to answer in the context of the question. Specifically in this particular question, which one shows that it has a transitive dependency to get that 1 mark.
Okay. Then write table descriptions for all required tables in the database. So there are 3NF. I think this one is okay. Artwork medium. Okay. So if we look at the answer for this one, I think this is
Just to
okay.
share.
Artwork medium, price,
Sorry.
and then studio name.
Table
Okay.
description.
Mm.
J1 promo.
Uh,
I have student who really describe, write
ah,
one whole paragraph to describe the table when being told to write the table description. I hope no JC2 student will do that kind of foolish thing.
there are some words that they use, right? Like for example, your truth table, your decision table, all those things are referring to very specific things. Like for example, OP also, like OP, they ask you to draw the what's the diagram again? Shit, I
U,
forgot.
U, UML.
The UML that diagram to show
Yeah.
the structure, right? So you need to know all these keywords lah.
Yeah.
Okay?
So please don't go and write a table description and describe the whole thing. Then you wow, that one.
Okay. So I guess the last few years, as far as been seeing, Cambridge always give this part here lah. They help you a bit lah. So I think this prevents people from writing nonsense lah.
Okay.
Okay.
I realized that when I mark my J1 promo, I penalize them for one thing. No, their attribute names they use like, for example, like studio name or artist contact they write it as 2 words. Now you only have 2 choices. Either you use the underscore to say artist underscore contact, studio underscore name, or studio underscore address. Okay,
Mm.
you make it to 1 word. Another one is to use the camel cap. That
Ah.
means artist, you spell A, and then the rest small letter. Then you have a capital letter C, contact, and you make it into 1 word. So you must remember your attribute name and also your table name all must be a single word. Okay, if you write it a separate word, like for example, number of days, wow, then kena already. Okay, your attribute name will be penalized.
Yeah, I think because the J1 haven't done enough of the coding yet. So for the DB lah, because once you code then you realize actually if you have a field name that is if you have a field name that has two words, then you're gonna have a lot of issues. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this one is just here lah. I think this one don't have to talk so much about it. All right. Artist name is independent. Okay. Because the artist is not tied to the studio. Okay, then studio's name is also independent of the artist name as well. Okay, then your ER diagram. Okay, please be careful about ER diagram. So this one, remember when you want to construct a good DB structure, you are always trying to eliminate connections that are many to many. One to one, that's fine. One to many, that's fine. You want to eliminate many to many. All right. Okay, then what's the purpose of maintaining multiple tables in 3NF? Okay, so you don't have to. You can prevent issues like your update anomaly and your deletion anomaly that we talk about in prelims. Okay, so reduce redundancy data so that when data is updated, only one entry needs to be changed. Okay, so this is your update anomaly. Okay, okay, even though they never use the word lah. Okay, then the SQL part is straightforward. Output all names of artists who have at least one artwork displayed in La Galleria that costs at most 3005. Okay, I think quite straightforward for 4 marks. This is very generous. Okay, so I think this one you can interpret on your own. Okay, what's the next one? PDBA, start with PDBA question there. Then this one, in this case here, like that lah. Okay. I think maybe we set as a if for those who are here, set as a standard for yourself. Try to state the compliance that you are following. Okay, you want to talk about the obligation, right? Or is the permission or obligation, the protection or obligation, the transfer or obligation. So if you can say it correctly and describe it correctly as well, right? It adds some sophistication to your answers. It it tells the examiners that you know what you are doing. All right. Okay, Ken, this is question 7.
I added one question. I mean, I added a note. I mean, inside the spreadsheet. Okay,
Uh,
about the address. If you go back to the address, the artist address.
Artist
If
address.
artist
Yeah.
address to the question.
Hmm.
Okay. Here is a question. Storing the address as a single field, right? Is it? I mean, if let's say the question asks you, is this a good way to store the address? The answer is no lah. Okay, the answer is no, because address, for example, sometimes you want to for example, the road name, right? It could be Jalan Kayu, but then different units, right? So address, I mean, in a generic form, not just for this question, we actually separate by their road name, their postal code, their block address, and then their unit number. So we separate them into components. So address is never a single field. Okay, cannot. But then for simplicity, sometimes when we create tables, we just put address. But in real life, if let's say they ask you to comment how or better way to store the address, it will be actually multiple field. Okay, for different parts of the address, road name, postal code, block number, unit number. The
Yeah.
other
So,
one is the other
go
issue.
ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, you want to talk about the addressing one, is it?
Yeah. So I say if let's say there's a question that asks you for this table, is there any one NF non-compliance? There's none here lah. But if you really they set a question wrongly, you have to then this one lor, the address lor. That's but it's a very lame one. There's nowhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. There are two data. Actually, there are two data in one field. Actually, the unit number and the road name. Okay. The other one is about this thing called the phone number, right? Should phone number be stored as a numeric or text? Okay, I think this is a very common issue. Most of you would think that it's perfectly okay to store it as numeric. The answer is no. Normally we store it as a X. Okay, because a telephone number we don't do arithmetic a multiplication, addition, kind of thing. We don't do that. So there's no need to put it as a numeric. Then some of you will question, then even if I don't do any arithmetic addition, subtraction, or kind of thing for telephone number, I can still store as numeric. But please bear in mind, some telephone number, especially the foreign country, they have a country code that start with a 0. Okay. Then if you store it as a numeric, you can never have a 0 in front one. Okay. 016, then followed by the country code, then followed by the number. So, and then also some telephone number, they have some symbol like the dash, right? 016 dash something something something. So telephone number by in fact the real world practice is always to store it by a string. Okay, as a text, not string. SQL don't have string. SQL is text.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah. I think in short, you cannot when you construct a DB, right? Always look at the data that you have to put in and the potential data to put in to go and cover for all the cases. So like for example, let's say you only expect like just now like what Mr. Tan mentioned, there's +65, 065, etc. If you only go to take phone numbers from Singapore, you're not going to then you just know oh everything starts then you store as a number, that's fine. 986 that's okay. Okay, so you go upon a case by case basis. So okay, whoever call K is right, please message in the group chat. Don't just send everyone, doesn't matter. Okay, when they ask for 3NF, do you identify the primary key and then two non-primary keys where one is dependent on the other to show transitive dependency? Yes. Okay, so in this, his question is asking how to talk about 3NF, right? First, you need to find out what is the primary key. Primary key is artwork title. Then you go and find you find you find a field that depends on a non-key field. So for example, artist is not a primary key. Artist name is also not a primary key, right? But artist contact depends on artist name. Artist name depends on our title. Okay, of course you can find different versions of this lah. What else? Medium and price no. But studio name yes. Studio names, studio address. Studio address depends on studio name. Then studio name depends on the artwork, the title. Okay. So if you got questions, I'll just type in the main chat, please. Because then it makes sense. Because unless your question is highly personal and only applies to your case, I'm sure someone else can benefit it from it as well. Okay. Okay. Then let's look at next one. Diamond High 1D. 1D and E. Diamond High. What is that? I think that this one. Okay.
Modular design and the version control.
Ah, okay. So this one, starting part, I think is okay. Okay, so like we said, decision table, the first one, if they never ask you to remove redundancy, just give the full one. Don't summarize at the start. Don't try to remove redundancy at the start first. Okay, and then also don't combine your factors. Don't combine your factors here. Just separate them first. Okay, so you should have a full table like this. Okay, so I'm not gonna go through answer first. I think the answers are there lah. Okay, then they want to do OP. Then so you have your employee, salary employee, apprenticeship employee, draw class diagram. Okay, I think this one nothing too complicated lah. Okay, nothing that you have not seen before. Okay, so I think this one they are a bit like us where they basically want everything lah. Oh, even not sure you will modify or not, you just give. Okay, there's also wanted constructor. Okay, so I think we didn't give marks for constructor for prelim, but if you worry, you just put it down. Okay, I actually give marks for this display class. So it's a choice on my end. Okay, if you're not sure, then if you have to put one, you put constructor first lah. Okay, can? Okay, so this is it. Then after this, then what they ask you to do? They ask you to go and okay, now this is the part that's complicated. Salary employee is given paid a fixed monthly salary. If got work OT, work public holiday, 3% bonus. 160 hours or more, give 5% bonus. If you pay into a pension like CPF, 4% deduct from their monthly payment. You will start working soon. So CPF in Singapore, employee pays 10%. Employer pays 22%, I think. All right. Okay, so this is the mindset is the final payment your employee receives. So Ming-Tek fixed pay 1,000. He worked public holiday, he worked 163 hours, he pays a pension. So he gets extra $30, 3% 1,000, 5% 1,000 for extra hours work, $50, minus off $40 for pension. So plus 30 plus 50 minus 40. Then calculate salary of employees used to calculate. So basically take all these things. Okay, then this one here, if I ask you to write the Python code for this, I think you can write, no issue. You confirm can write. It's now the flow chart design here. They never tell you what all the symbols are, but you are expected to know lah. Okay, so we come to this one. Okay, so actually you just think about it, right? It's a if else. Okay, if he got work overtime, do this. If he got work on public holidays, add this amount in. If he got pension, then minus away this amount. All right. So come to the answer. If you look over here.
Okay, I think this Diamond High, they are trying to be very lenient to give the student the symbol. I think last year 2024
Okay.
Cambridge question is that student draw flow chart with wrong symbol. So I think Diamond High for their prelim paper, they try to be lenient. They give the student the shape to be used in their flow chart. A level, I don't think they will give.
Okay, so rectangle is the process lah, right? Some kind of calculation. Okay, diamond is your evals. Okay, nothing special lah. Okay, the end, just end lor. Okay, is there anything you want to? Anyone not sure about this? Step by step, oh. So if this is assigning all the variables. Then get the basic pay. Then you if else if got get the hours, get hours. Then if hours is more than hour month bonus, then add the amount, add the amount, add the amount, add the amount. Okay, yeah, this part here. Okay, can. So nothing much about this, huh? Then next one, 1E, polymorphism. Polymorphism don't explain. State what changes in design needs to be made if the objects of class apprenticeship also use calculate salary to calculate the weekly salary. Okay, so for this, we need to look back at the answer that they gave lah over here. And I think maybe look at the question. So the question a bit lost, so that's why. Okay, paid weekly. Then they have this salary workers are paid fixed pay per month. Okay. But at this stage, they haven't thought about the get salary method. The get salary method is only when you create your appropriate methods, right? Over here. You have your get salary, get monthly payment, right? This one here. This one here. But this method here, right, only exists in the salary employee class, not in the apprenticeship employee class. Okay, so if you want to use it if you want to use it apprenticeship class, right, you need to get this up into your parent class first. The parent class must contain the get monthly payment. Then you polymorph down, that's fine lah. Okay, another way, right, is to just add this method. This method only exists in the salary employee child class, right? You can add the same method name into the apprentice class as well. That's fine too. Okay, because I realized at the employee stage, there's no point to define the get monthly payment class, because at this stage, right, the employee class does not contain information about what kind of employee you have, right? And different employees are paid differently, so there's no point storing it inside the employee class. So I think the answer says that you put into the yeah yeah over here. Okay. Okay, then this one, modular method in software design. I think this was more emphasized in the old syllabus, right? The new syllabus not so much, right, Mr. Tan?
Old syllabus, what? Sorry.
The modular design in software development part. We didn't
I
really talk
don't
about it, so
it's not explicit. So what happened is that this whole idea about reusability and extensibility come under this modular design. You see, why we use write function, for example. We write function so that in many of our other program we can call this function. For example, right? Correct? Let's say you write the function to find the square. Then in many of your other calculations, you can just make use of this particular function and you call it. So this is called reusability. So same thing for modular design. When you do things, you design modular, that particular module can be used in other program or other parts of the programs. Okay. Then extensibility is where you actually take that function and then you call it and then you extend. That means you can actually add a few more feature. In a case like, for example, our class, our parents class and our child class, right? The child class is actually extending the parents class methods. Okay, so this whole idea about modular design, it is still very much within the OOP formats. Why do we write things in OOP? Because it allows us to do this kind of modular design, you see. So I think the concept, the idea about this modular design is still very much within our scope lah.
Okay, last one, version control. Not so much, but basically version control allows you to basically revert back to your last stable version of your files lah. You have done a bit of version control when you were doing web app. We asked you to save a version that is working, then make a copy of that version, then go and work on the copy, right, and then develop it in stages lah. So you know that if you screw up one part, right, you screw up, for example, the one portion, you can just revert to the previous one that's working. Okay. Some schools, especially the IP schools, they teach the students how to use Git and GitHub right from the start lah. So if you use Git and GitHub, then you talk about branching and all, but this is irrelevant to the question. I mean, it's not so important here lah. I do know. I think NYJC also in 2 years or so try to force students to learn Git and GitHub as well. But again, this one is their own thing.
Correct.
Okay, we don't
I think
do that because it's not because we have cosmology lah.
correct.
We
No, the
revert
other
back
thing,
to
no, we don't have the bandwidth. We don't have the time
yeah, don't have time.
to explore this Git and GitHub kind of thing. But tell the truth, after your A-level exam, during your holiday, go and pick up on a Git and GitHub and build your portfolio there.
Yes.
Because it's very good for your interviews in future, where you want to show people that what are the programs, what are the things that we're working on. You just refer them to the Git and GitHub. Oh, the point where they hear that you're using Git, you host your things over there at the GitHub. They know that you are a developer, you are a programmer.
You know what you're talking about.
You know what you're talking about. You have been actively doing something like that. Okay, compared to a person who know nuts, don't even have an account for in a GitHub, then you know these are two different group of people. So, but we still want to teach the idea about versioning. That's how in our lesson, right? We do project 1, then copy, and then do the project 2, project 3, the kind of thing. So we teach you the versioning without using the Git and GitHub.
Yeah. Okay, question 2 got a bit of stuff. Let's see what's the 2 we done already. 3. Okay, I want to compare. Yeah, we have about maybe half an hour left. Let me look at AC question 7 first. Let's see what's AC question 7. AC question 7 is we done here. 7 is done already.
AC question
AC
6.
D, E, F, G.
Did we talk about AC question 6,
No, this one.
about
Public
the
key.
3-way handshake.
No, this one.
Don't have.
You want to do this portion?
Actually, my only concern is about this 3-way handshake because it may be something that is quite new to some of you, especially when they are talking about this protocol kind of thing. So I think going through the answer will be good enough.
Yeah, I think we got talk about it before at the start. We compare to UDP, right?
Yes, correct. The difference between TCP and UDP. Now, UDP, I put it in a very layman term. They kind of don't care. I sent out already. I sent out the packet, the message already. I don't care whether you receive or not. So that's the job of the UDP. And it's very good. For example, he send you a video. He don't care whether you receive the full video, some part missing, some part not missing. So that's why when you play a YouTube video, sometimes you see some very pixelized or sometimes the sound jerk a little bit, that kind of thing, and then some missing parts. It doesn't matter. You watch, or even in a video call, voice conversation over the internet, it doesn't matter if you miss some part of the voice. You just continue to hear, because no point the part that is so-called lost and being resent. Imagine you listen to a sentence, halfway there's something missing, then listen to the end, then the missing part comes in. Then your whole message becomes jumbled up, right? Because the missing part that is missed, and then they resend, then it's received later, then the voice suddenly appear later. So UDP is very good. He send and forget. Whereas a TCP is a bit more careful. When he send you a file, he must make sure that you receive every part of the file. Otherwise, when you assemble the file, you try to open, it becomes corrupted because some missing parts or some part received wrongly. So TCP ensure the integrity of the file when it's being sent. So these are the two main thing about the protocol itself. So in TCP, there are certain handshake that is involved. It establish that connection first before they send out the thing, and then when the fella, the destination side receive the full packet, in case where some missing packet, he will actually send a reply and say that which packet is missing, and then to prompt for a resend, then the sender will send it again. So the TCP will close at the end of the third stage, when they have fully received it send a handshake and then say, okay, we have fully received the thing. So that is the reason, the underlying reason of why there's this three-way handshake to establish the connections for the TCP.
If you if you want to understand, you want to learn through memes, right? You just Google for TCP versus UDP memes. You have a lot of interesting one. Like for example, there's one I'm looking at now. When you pass a baby using TCP, you must make sure the person who is supposed to take over the baby has secured the baby before you let go. Okay, but if you do UDP style, right, you just throw the baby. Yeah, a lot of this. Go and search for it. Okay. Okay, I think this one, I think the rest of question, I think nothing too unfamiliar lah. Right, maybe, yeah. Okay, send server user. Yeah, so the digital signature one, please make sure you know how to do this. Does not store user data, blah blah. Okay, this one, hash form. Yes. Okay, so I think quite a good question overall. Do study this question. This is quite it's a straightforward question, but it hits all the key ideas. Okay, I think we got time for one more. One more. I think you guys wanted which is the one? AC question 7. What's AC question 7? No, done already. Wait AS Diamond High, right? This one here. This one actually it looks complicated, but it's not. It's quite straightforward. Okay, so let's go through this quickly. Details of error are stored in generated program stored in the stack. Details of each error are stored in the class called error. Okay, then after that you state which error will be first retrieved from the stack. Okay, then that is just the last error lah. I just show the answer here. What's the answer there? Okay, so we return the last one in, or the most recent error. Okay, then I implement it as a 1D array, okay, with the identifier error array. Then we write a function, add item to stack, takes the next error, the array and pointers as parameters. If the stack is full, function return false. Otherwise, it adds a stack error to the stack, changes the pointer value, return true. So the pseudocode they gave was like that lah. So again, you see some things I never see before. This is by
Correction, I think this is
reference.
Diamond High, not AC.
Diamond high.
Diamond High question
Diamond
3.
high, yeah. Yeah, by reference, by value, never see before. But I think at this stage, if you ignore this by ref, by value, it's still, you can understand this error array, array from 0 to 99, okay, of error. Okay, so maybe some things to understand. Okay, then the last item is an integer. So last item stores it's just a pointer for the last error that's stored. So that allows you for easy insertion. Okay, then by value, this is the error that you're supposed to put in. Okay, so pseudocode wise, I think nothing too challenging. So if your list is full, that means your last item right now is already pointing to 99 because your array data is from 0 to 99. Okay, so the last available slot is at 99. So if it's at last at 99, then it's full lah, then you can just return false. Else you will insert into the array at last item plus 1. Okay, insert it. Okay, then after that, then you increment your last item value by 1 lah. Okay, that's it. Okay, then explain why error array last item are passed by reference and error 1 is passed by value. So I look at the answer key, I don't like the way they present it lah. So I just copy this whole chunk. I threw it to ChatGPT and say, can you explain to me in clearer terms? So actually what's happening is very simple. Okay, by reference. Okay, by reference it means when I run this function, right, I have to put in the parameter, I have to put in the reference to the actual array and then reference to the last item. So that means, okay, let's just maybe let's just assume let's just talk about the last item. Let's say I know that the last item right now is 45. Why I don't put 45 into this function? Why must I put it as a last item? That means instead of putting the value of the last item itself, right? I put last item. I put the name of the variable there. Okay. Why is that so? Because remember when you write into this array, right? You are actually mutating the array. So to mutate this array, right, you need to make a reference to it. So you want to make a change to this array that is persistent after the function is run. After you run this function, it should update your array, right? Then after the function is done, right, the array is updated. The actual array is updated. It should not just be a case of you taking a copy of the array, you updating in your function, then later you run it. It seems that it has been updated, but actually the actual array itself hasn't been updated. Same thing for last item. The last item, the value needs to be updated every time you push something into the array. Okay. I'm just going to, I don't know, let me just read what I have on ChatGPT for you also lah. Okay. So in this case here, right, why
I
why
type something
error
inside
array?
the chat. I type something in the chat.
Uh,
Y'all take a look.
yeah. So this modifies the original array, i.e. the stack that exists outside the function. So that therefore error array must be passed by reference so that changes inside the function affect the array outside the function.
Yeah. So
Okay.
your this array is actually a global function. No, global variable. So if you look at the chat itself, for example, my LST is this array 1, 2, 3. And then when you call the function add item to stack, you must refer to this LST. Okay, then within your this function, it will modify this LST.
Yeah.
Okay, same thing for your last item. Last item is also something that will vary. If for example you do an iteration, now your last item is 45, your next last item maybe 66 or whatever the kind of thing. And then when you call the function repeatedly, the last item will change, added into the thing.
Okay.
I think we can understand this by
Yeah.
the idea of a global variable lah.
Yeah. Okay. Then after they talk about error one. So error one, because it's the actual error itself, you just put it in lah. You don't have to. There's no change that we make to the value error one. Okay. Then after they ask you to do remove item, no issue. I think remove item. You check for whether the list is empty. How to know the list is empty? Last item is less than 0. Okay. Then I think it's straight. Okay, then they store, okay, the errors have been processed are stored in the global queue called error complete. Function enqueue adds an error to error complete. Okay, so enqueue will basically remove an error from the stack first. Okay, then output stack empty if there's no errors in the stack. Okay, then enqueue it lah. Okay, so I think this one we are not too much, but I think you can read, should be able to understand what's going on. But just note this enqueue item, this enqueue method here is also processing on the stack. It is running the stack method to what's the word? To remove item first. Okay, must remove item. So enqueue will call remove item first. And enqueue needs to check whether remove item actually remove something or not. So this portion here, so this is the run error part, right? Okay, then this is the remove item from stack. Okay, but if remove doesn't give you anything, it returns you a none, right? Or in this case, they put null error, then there's no need to run the rest of the process because there's no error for you no error for you to process and enqueue it. Okay, otherwise you just do it as per normal lah. Okay. Okay, next question. I think you should be able to do this. Okay, so this is your 2D array. Okay, then you have error array 8 nodes. Then you need to store error list head, free space list head. Okay, then it's used as a linked list head and then the free space list head. Okay, this is now in the linked list. Then we have copy following diagram, complete the following linked list with error list head. So update. So you're supposed to add first by error. So 304xx, 20x, so they add. So basically, the adding is quite straightforward. All right. This one, they are not asking you to describe the process. They just say add in directly. Okay, but you know that right now at the start, right, the pointers are pointing to -1. Okay, so once I add something in, I add, let's say for example, 304xx here, right? My free, my error list head should point to 1. My free space list head should point to 2. Okay, and so on and so forth lah. So the end, once you've added everything, okay, it should look like this lah. So you add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and this is the point. This is the pointer to the next node, right? So it becomes -1 lah, because this is the last node, and then you update your last item 5, and then you update your error list head, which is at index 1 lah. The next available list item is at head 6 lah. Okay. Do you need to, there's some redundancy here, I feel. If you have already stored -1 here, right? Technically, you don't have to store the last item lah. Okay, but again, this was, I think, the VJ question we discussed, I think, during the practice for the practical. They have a free list, which I interpreted it as some of you and me included, we interpreted it as a second list of basically the list of nodes that are unused lah. Okay, then remove an item. Remove the last item here. How will it change, right? I remove this guy. Okay, so I need to update this one. Update the pointer from the previous node to -1, and then update the last item. Okay, then error list head is still at 1. Okay, then free space list head, you realize it never change. What kind of technique are they? Okay, I don't know, you remember when we taught you this array structure, right? We said that after delete, right? The next question we ask ourselves is, do we recycle? Right now, right, you can see that here, because they never update the free space list head, right, they are not recycling. So that means now node 5, we technically, we remove the information, right? We are not reusing it. Okay, so if you want to recycle, right, you need to push this now unused node let the free space list be 5 lah. Okay, I think the question actually never specify. Yeah, they never mention anything
They
about
they
recycling lah.
never. Yeah.
So you want to recycle,
Also
it's not
can. You
wrong to
don't
recycle
recycle also
lah.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want the easy method, then I mean there's no coding here lah. But anyway, if I have to code, then I won't recycle lah, because that code will be hard to write. So yeah lor. Okay, explain what the free space list is, then keep track of unallocated. That one we talk about it before.
Okay. If you if you find that this question is overwhelming, it is overwhelming. Okay. Now this is not a standard kind of A-level question that I want you to kind of know it. So if you find, the reason why I highlighted in blue in the spreadsheet is just for interest sake. Some of you who want to take a look at some challenging question and what other college have done, or to go to what extent, this is what you can see. Okay, so it's only for that purpose. But I think if you only have the capacity to just focus on what is going to come out in A level and starting, maybe you want to give this this kind of question a miss. Okay, and don't be overly affected if you find that, oh, you can't understand a lot of parts, you don't know how to answer certain parts. Don't be overwhelmed by this. That's not the intention. Okay, so this question is not the main
harder
focus.
question.
It's just to
Yeah.
for those people who want to be
I
exposed to a
would
little bit.
think the individual components if there are questions on your own, you should be able to do them. So for example, like this pseudo code for adding and removing from stack, you should be able to do if it's on its own. Q part, again, this is a bit like a gap that they fill in the middle. Then if it's just part C on its own, like this portion on its own, I think it's also doable lah.
Yes, correct,
But it's
correct.
just that when you
So
put everything together, there's like a lot of things for you to
correct,
consider.
correct. Yeah, individual portion are worth thinking the kind of thing.
Ah,
But then if you look from head to tail, and they find that it's overwhelming, forget it. Don't drain yourself off for this kind of thing. Not worth it.
okay. Anyway, we are just a little bit here. Name and explain 3 types of error that could occur computer program. Give one example with type of error. This one, not so standard question, but I just think it's good to emphasize. Whatever you learn in the actual programming practical side, right? It can be asked as a theory question lah. Short of asking, I think it's unfair to ask you to write actual Python code a long function, for example, like ask you to write, for example, merge sort, using Python code, I think that's unfair lah. But merge sort using pseudocode, that is within the scope of the exam, that kind of thing. Okay. So I think for the rest of questions, I'll just look through them.
Hey, you don't want to
Okay.
go through the three type error. Just a
Actually,
reminder for
I'll
them.
show them. Okay,
I
okay.
show them. I
Good,
scared they
good.
forget what are the three type of error. Okay,
Okay.
syntax error is one,
Uh,
right? Runtime error, and then the other one is logical error.
mm,
Logical error means the code actually run perfectly, no error at all, it runs well, but it give you wrong answer. 2 plus 2 equal to 10. It works, it
for,
return you a value, but that is a wrong answer. So there's a logic error. Also
mm,
logical error, the function still works. It doesn't run into error. There's no error message. It gives you an answer. And if you blur go and take the answer, then you get a wrong answer lah. Yeah,
mm.
so that's a logical error. So please, this is a very basic kind of questions. And then you need to know your three type of error.
Syntax and runtime very easy to catch lah. Logical is the one that's the hardest to catch lah. Because logical, you run it, no error, you get an answer, but then sometimes your answer is correct where you have certain test cases, but using other test cases, your answer is wrong. Okay.
Just to quote
Yep.
one of the A-level question in the past, is about runtime error, about the leaf one. I think the leaf, they press the button up and down. Then a few months later, they find that, the program code run into problem. Issue is because they never purge the memory or what. They run too many times. Then it kind of use up the memory space, and then the program crash. Okay, so runtime error also difficult to catch, because if you don't run into that particular error, no error. Or sometimes it requires you to run over a long period of time, right? Maybe you run a million times, then you hit the error. So runtime error is also not easy to catch. Syntax error is the easiest, right? You type something wrongly and all that kind of thing. Straight away the compiler will tell you that it's a runtime error. It's a syntax error. Okay, okay. So your
Mm.
understanding of a runtime error is that.
Yeah. Okay. So look through the other papers. I think next week, can I check when does your actual level start? Is it on 3rd November? Or GP paper
Yes, I
one?
think it's 3rd November. Mother
Okay.
tongue is next Monday. Then
Ah,
I think the actual paper all starts from November onwards.
okay. I should do a poll. If we do a next session, I think maybe we put it on Wednesday lah, if you want to. Okay, I assume that you come down today for this, you might be interested in the next session. So I'll let you all decide now. You all want Wednesday or Friday? Thursday, Thursday morning I can also. Thursday afternoon cannot. You all choose. The teachers are generally free now. Any violent objections? If let's say we Friday, I think not good here because too close to your GP paper already. Anyone? You can type. Is anyone typing? No.
I think
Okay, I think
next week will
let's.
be next week will be our last session already lah. I think
Yeah,
yeah, and I think uh, we will
Wednesday
we
bar.
will plow through. I think there's another college which is River
Mm,
Valley High. River
mm,
Valley High have just uploaded their question in I mean their paper one question
mm.
just 2 days ago. So
Okay.
we can take a look at River Valley High, see whether there's any interesting part. Otherwise we can also extract out some from the last year, that means 2024 prelim paper. There are also some interesting part that we can go through with you.
Mm.
So I think
Okay.
there's something that we can do next week.
I think for now, let's just put it as
Any yeah.
Wednesday afternoon. Afternoon better, right? You all can. I know right now your sleep cycle sure mess up already. Okay, so I think let's try Wednesday afternoon lah. Then same thing
Oh dear.
we will go and the teachers go and think about which papers you want to do. We'll let you know by the weekend. So at least you can take a look at
Yeah,
those
good,
papers.
good.
Can lah. 11:30 just nice.
Yeah. Any one of you have any feedback before we call it a day? We got 3 minutes more. Please, y'all keep each other in check, okay? Don't want a case where you study at home, then got spider web on you already, all of you, and
Come out
then
and take some fresh air.
correct.
Yeah.
We don't want to be caught by surprise. The day you're supposed to sit for exam, then you never turn up for exam, then we go to your house and see you all got spider web already. Okay, don't do that. Take care of yourself. Okay, study must
Oh,
study, eat must eat, sleep must sleep. Okay,
oh, yeah. Okay, I think that's all. I think
good.
can unmute and bye bye.
Okay, unmute your mic and then say thank you and then we say bye bye. At least we can hear your voice.
Good job. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye
bye.
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 Take care. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Okay, good.
Okay, you want
Hey,
to do you also want to do it like this session? Because I think this session I was busy, so we never prepared. So I just
no, I
open
think
up there.
this is a good way. This is a good
Mm,
way. It's just to it's not to tell them the answers. The answers are all there.
uh,
Is to highlight some of the thing or some spin-off lah. That means from this question, certain thing that's related,
uh,
certain thoughts, rather than the answer itself,
uh.
because it'll be very dry lah. It'll be very dry just to go through the answer itself.
We don't sound under prepared, because actually, there's no time to prepare. Because I only look at what they chose the last night, then I just
Mm,
scan
mm,
through only,
mm.
yeah.
For me, it's actually at that point when I go through all the questions, I kind of mentally ask myself what are the issue on this question, that question, that kind of thing.
Oh,
So during my first scan through, I kind of did that that
oh,
selection
yeah,
lah,
yeah.
and then I kind of remember them, and then because still quite fresh
Ah,
so then what come to mind, then
okay,
I think
can,
this is the best that we can do now. Okay,
okay.
so I'll scan through the RVHS, and then I'll populate the spreadsheet lah
Can
within this
maybe next
today lah.
round we decide which schools they want them to look at by maybe tomorrow lah. Do we have the schools now actually?
Yeah.
You see which
by
paper you want to
by
do, then
tomorrow or
I can.
latest by Monday lor. How
Ah,
about?
yeah,
Oh,
okay, can,
can
can.
can Hey, you
Okay.
take care. You've been coughing quite badly,
No, no, normal. Because now I think it's like the stage where it's recovering then, but cannot fully recover, but
Uh,
still functioning lah. Because now
but,
now I'm starting to do all the OP stuff also. I a bit busy also lah.
okay.
Mm.
But yourself, you're not having fever or anything like that, right?
All recover the fever over already.
Okay.
Ah,
My that time was I got fever. I told you, right?
ah.
I kind of underestimated the fever lor.
Mm.
So that's why it resulted a big problem.
Eh,
Yeah. So
so who replaced you for PE?
these are who is that? The new guy, the
Heng Seng
no,
No,
it's
Kai Seng.
Kai Seng.
Kai Seng. Oh, he.
Eng Kai Seng. He's very
Yeah.
experienced,
Oh,
He I met him 10 plus years ago in St. Andrew mah.
Oh,
So already he is a very established maths teacher there already.
I see.
Then along the way he don't know where he go lah, the kind of thing.
Oh,
Yeah, so very zai one lah.
we don't have anyone for the next course, right? The CTCUC don't have, right?
Don't have lah.
没有 I think math 应该是不会。
我问过
require.
文荣 lah, but 文荣 he should be interested in this maths so he's
Mm,
not anytime soon lah. He say must wait for him to get sick of maths first.
okay,
So
okay.
we don't have anybody in the
Yeah,
pipeline, and then
yeah.
the day will come when Chris leave us, then we will back to 3% now.
No,
Yeah.
I actually really should also think about people not in the science and math side also, but I don't know
Okay.
whether
The other thing is also keep a lookout lah. Those are
mm,
people from outside our school.
Jasper 叫去
Outside in fact if we have friends who are outside our schools
mm,
may be interested to come over lah. So
mm,
those
mm,
are the things that we can take a look
mm.
or even
Okay,
FHAT or whatever.
okay, can.
Can okay. Take
Okay, bye
care. Bye
bye.
bye.